Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the top 10 Paldean Pokemon for the Open Great League for the next season of Go Battle League. Of course, we will not get all of them, but we already know that we're going to get Paldean Pokemon for the next season of Pokemon Go. This list is going to be the top 10 Pokemon for the Paldean, from the Paldean region for Pokemon Go. It does not include any of the new DLC mons. Also, this is based on a tier list from Go Stadium. I'm going to link the basically like the website or the article down below as well. If you want to see this kind of content as well for the Ultra and for the Master League, feel free to leave a like. I actually made a video on this topic already a year ago, but I kind of have like a better style for that now, and I can give some different informations today, and I've definitely worked a little bit harder for this. So leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we're gonna hop right into the first one. The first one going to be Spidops, I don't know, it's Spider. That is definitely cool at fighting, has the potential of getting counter, lunge, and brick break. Here has a very decent stats as you can see right now, but it's more of a sim hero to be fair. Something like this, here you're going to see a brick break is not a good move at all, like brick break is really bad, but lunge would be really nice and counter would be really nice. But of course for lunge, the main thing for it is the debuff, so if an opponent swaps out of their Pokemon, the lunge debuff is gone. And this Pokemon most likely does not have the greatest play. While it does look very decent in the current simulations here, as you can see, it's definitely not the Pokemon that's going to dominate the meta when it ever comes out, but it's still a cool Pokemon that has some potential, fairly decent stats. And of course, like, as you see here already, I put all of that stuff into Poke by myself and also made all the graphics for that now, so we can take a little bit of a deeper look at it. The moveset for the video all the time going to be the best possible one based on what Go Stadium says, so definitely something interesting here, as we can move on to number 9. Number 9 going to be Screamtail. Screamtail is going to be one of the most bulkiest Pokemon for the Great League as well as for the Ultra League, as you can use it for that one as well. Just doesn't have decent fast moves. It has Thunderfang though, which is most likely going to be the best one, as well as the charge moves of Psyshock and Play Rough, which are going to be very decent as well. You see the stats already, 2500 basically as an overall rating is insane. This Pokemon is going to be one of like the future / past Pokemon. It's like the past variant of Jigglypuff, which is kind of funny, but this Pokemon is extremely bulky and also even VGC a very strong Pokemon to use for like Parasong strats. But otherwise, you can see here already, it's going to have a great play in the Open Great League. Still, if it had a better fast move, it would be even higher on this list, because the stats of this is insane, the charge moves are insane, the typing is very decent. But like this, sadly, at least in the current meta, it still kinda sucks against a lot of stuff. But honestly, this typing on this Pokemon itself would be so nice to just break down Medicham. Like, Medicham has no chance against us at all. Really wish that we're going to get those Pokemon kinda soon. Hopefully, we're gonna get them not only in raids, which I could see for those Pokemon to happen. I don't know what Niantic going to do with those future / past forms for those Pokemon, but it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Very strong Pokemon here right now. Next one coming up is another one of them, a Roaring Moon. This Pokemon is interesting because it is the same typing as Hydreigon, which is going to be interesting here. It has very similar stats to Hydreigon, it only changes in like a few small bits there. But yeah, it would have definitely potential to learn something like Night Slash and Breaking Swipe. So while it's here on rank 8 on this list, it is definitely not really a Pokemon that's going to be too strong unless it's going to get Dragon Breath, Breaking Swipe. Night Slash is not even that important, but any kind of Dragon type Pokemon with Breaking Swipe is going to be strong. Very strong charge move just now. Like, this Pokemon would be very cool with it, of course, but like Breaking Swipe itself is most likely currently the best charge move in the game. I might actually make a tier list for like best charge move, best fast move in the game. It would be maybe interesting as well, where I can list them all up. But we're going to move on to the next one right now. Tinkaton. Tinkaton going to be number 7 here for today. This is going to be a Pokemon that has the same typing as Mawile, but has just way better stats. Funnily enough, they actually share the exact same attack stat, but Tinkaton just adds a ton of bulk and stamina to it. So it is a very bulky Pokemon and has an amazing typing. Like, Steel plus Fairy typing is amazing to have. Has a potential of having a decent moveset as well. Very likely that gets Fairy Wind and Play Rough. Stone Edge, of course, is really ideal to hit something like a Noctowl or like, okay, an Altaria hit as well, but like something like Pelipper. But actually it would have the potential as well to get its signature move, which I think is a Steel type move, which is most likely going to be a charge move then as well, which does a ton of damage in the main series games, but I think you cannot use it back to back. Does like 180 damage or something, like insane stuff. So hopefully we're going to get this into the game as well eventually, when this Pokemon comes out as well. In general, general, I just hope that Niantic just adds a ton of new charge moves and fast moves into the game. It just is overdue. Honestly, it's just overdue. Like we just get like only a few always, and like basically we have nearly all the same moves that we started on. Like I really wish that there's just a big bunch of new moves coming in, but we will never know, not at least right now. Another Pokemon that you might have already seen in a video earlier from me, where I talked about the upcoming events for the upcoming season, going to be Clodsire. Definitely check out the video if you haven't already, but Clodsire is a bulkier Nidoqueen. This Pokemon gets an overall bulk of 2410, doesn't really get up to the Ultra League, it gets to like 2200 stats, which is definitely still kinda usable with the amount of bulk this Pokemon has, but it's not going to be ideal. But this Pokemon is going to be very strong if you can get it into the right positions, of course. But having access to Earth Power and Sludge Wave, which is going to guarantee an insane amount of damage there. Poison Jab is going to do a ton of damage as well. Would also learn Poison Sting, would also learn Mud Shot. So like this Pokemon always going to get very good fast moves for sure. But I'm curious on how strong the charge move is going to be. But like this, here we're going to see already, it's going to be a very strong core breaker for the meta and has a great average rating as well, as it can move on to number 5 right now. This is the one that surprised me, and honestly, it's most likely not as good as it seems like. Again, I went for the Go Stadium tier list there and just went up from that on. But this is actually the female variant. I don't know if it really matters if it's female or not, but this going to learn Mud Shot and Earth Power as well as Body Slam, and it really depends on the moves that it gets here. The stats itself are okay, like they're decent, they're fairly bulky, bulkier than for example a Tapu Fini in the Great League, but it is not crazy or like anything too special. Like you're really depending on the fast move Mud Shot as well as Body Slam, just to have the insanely fast spam. But otherwise it would not be as ideal. Still, it does seem very neutral like this, so I hope that we're gonna get this move there, but it is definitely a little bit of a Pokemon that I don't expect to see actually being good in the game later on. Next Pokemon, we're going to have a very cool one here, Ceruledge, a fire and ghost type Pokemon. And here we're going to go into the top 4 now, and the top 4 has one thing in common. They're actually two things in common. They either use one out of two fast moves, either Shadow Claw or Counter, and this kinda shows on how important it is to have Counter or Shadow Claw in the current meta, and I really hope that this is going to change eventually, that either more fast moves come in that are going to be better than those two, and just in general in the same area, like for example a Shadow Claw clone, but then as a grass type move, as a water type move, something like this, because right now it's still Counter and Shadow Claw, which is the same thing from the beginning. I just really wish that there would be like some more excitement for the fast moves and charge moves there. It's just a little bit, it's just so narrow. But yeah, otherwise it's going to be a better AWAC here. It's very squishy, it's squishier than AWAC for sure, but it has the option to learn Shadow Claw, and Shadow Claw is so much better than Hex or Fire Spin right now for a lone Marowak, so definitely going to be interesting. Has also a signature move, which I think heals itself, and it's a fire type charge move, or would be most likely a charge move. So going to be a very interesting Pokemon here right now, with the moveset of Night Slash and Close Combat, being able to destroy a lot of Pokemon, very glassy Pokemon. But you're going to actually encounter here right now that most of the top Pokemon are glassy. Next one, going to be Palafin Zero Form. There's a Zero and there's a Hero Form. The Hero Form is definitely strong for like Master League, but Zero Form is bulkier. And also, it's unlikely that this Pokemon gets Counter, but it does learn Counter in the main series game, so hopefully we will see it. But otherwise, it's most likely going to be a Pokemon that's not going to be too strong. Please add better water type fast moves to the game, other than of course Water Shuriken. But Palafin here, going to be a very interesting Pokemon. If it gets this moveset, would be very strong, being able to counter all those ground and Steel type Pokemon here, as you can see as well, while being able to resist Hydro Cannon from Swampert, doing a ton of damage with Surf and Ice Punch. Very interesting Pokemon to have. Definitely something that you can look forward to, and also it's just a very cool design. I just like this design. We really needed this kind of Dolphin Pokemon. I just love it. Next Pokemon going to be the Iron Valiant, which is going to be a very interesting typing, which you haven't seen in the game yet, which is going to be Fairy and Fighting. Also, this Pokemon gets Shadow Claw theoretically, as well as a Leaf Blade and Close Combat. I actually see them giving this Pokemon these moves here, so definitely could be the case. Definitely would make this tier, like Pokemon itself, very strong. But it's very glassy again. You see 1500 overall, that's basically in close to the range of something like a Sharpedo for the Great League. But you see also on the right side, this thing just hits hard and just kills everything comes close to it, which is really nice. As well as the typing itself is insanely strong for this Pokemon, so very cool Pokemon to use. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the #1 Pokemon. A lot of people are looking forward to it, and myself included, to be fair. I'm really looking forward to getting this Pokemon. And this Pokemon is going to be a NiLiAin, or however you can say that. But otherwise, this Pokemon had access to Shadow Claw, has access to the move Counter. Here right now, from Go Stadium, they say Counter would be the better fast move for it. I think Shadow Claw might be even a little bit better for it, to be fair. I think it gets, I have had certain get Shadow Claw, but Counter definitely does make sense. Shadow Punch does make sense. There will most likely get Raichus into the game before that, because you need Raichus basically to evolve the Primeape into this Pokemon here. It's an evolution of Primeape. I'm most likely going to make a guide for getting ready for the new generation as well. But yeah, this is going to be one of the best Pokemon that you can have as well. And as you're going to see right now, this thing slaps. The stats are very decent. 1800 overall for the bulk is very decent for a fighting type Pokemon, but it just hits so hard. It is such a good typing. Ghost and Fighting is such a nice typing right now, because this breaks the Steel plus Medicham Core, which you don't really have too often. So I really hope that this Pokemon comes into the game. But yeah, this is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the video that you see on the screen right now. And I'll see you then. Bye bye.